Good afternoon, tab everyone. You can just like use it today. Just in case that you would like to just like see when I'm having the what to say. On the last class, I talk about the what to say the VLOOKUP functions. When we talk about the VLOOKUP function, we also have like the same way as we did with the HLOOKUP. In that VLOOKUP also has exact match and closest match. Whenever we would like to talk about the exact match in the VLOOKUP, make sure that, okay, when you have to just like use VLOOKUP, the data that you would like to search for or lookup value should be able to search in the first column. Then we can use the VLOOKUP. So for example, we would like to find out the cost of the toothpaste. You can see that we may find the toothpaste in the first column like this. Then we can use VLOOKUP, and the value that you would like to use to match with your lookup value must be spanned in the first column on the left hand side. So for the nature of the table or table array that you would like to use to find the information for it is that for the VLOOKUP function if you have a look on the VLOOKUP it works like this. In VLOOKUP it said that, okay, it look for a value in the leftmost column to match with the lookup value that you have got. And then return a value in the same row from a column you specify. For example, if you would like to find the cost of the toothpaste, you can see that in here. If we say that this is our table array, column 1, column 2, toothpaste may be able to match with column 1's data in this row. So you can see that we have row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 rows altogether. When you can find toothpaste is located in the 6th row already. And if you say that you want the data from column 2, it will show $4.10 for you. This is how VLOOKUP does. By the way, this one you have to know that in order to use VLOOKUP, the table must be sorted in ascending order. On the last class, we talked about sorting a bit. Sorting is a way that you organize data alphabetically or by value. We have two different ways of sorting, ascending and descending. So for the VLOOKUP, it said that, okay, you need to find out the, you have to sort the data in an ascending order. Ascending order means that you sort from A to Z. This is ascending order. So some of you might be confused because when you go to the sorting feature in Microsoft Excel, it shows A to Z. It doesn't tell you the ascending. Ascending is like this, from A to Z. So in order to sort, you have to highlight all the applicable area. So that means if you sort the item description, the cost must be correspond to that that product. That's why you have to sort both column for column B and column C like this. When you highlight the table already, you go to menu data, and then you see sort. Sort is in the filter and sort group. You click sort. After that, it just pop up the box, the small window for you. Then you just uncheck my data has header out, and then you just sort by column B. That is item description. And then order is A to Z. After that, you click OK. So this one is sorted alphabetically, ascending order from A to Z. You can see that C come before S, S come before T, T come before W. And in the T itself, tinned baked beans, B, come before T, baked bean come before tomatoes. Tomatoes come before tuna, in here. So when you sort already, then our VLOOKUP will work now. When you work, you just like do similar way as you did with your HLOOKUP. In this one, it is VLOOKUP with the exact match. You look up the value here. Toothpaste is in C57 in my example. While table array is B49 to C55. The column that we want to get the data from, or what we call column index num, is in column 2. in here in the reference table here, and range lookup is exact match, that is false. You can see that the intermediate result is showing $4.10 in here. The way that we look up does is that it compare toothpaste with cornflake first. T come after C, then it jumps to the S. Toothpaste compare with shortcake. Toothpaste come after shortcake. T then it jumps to the next row. Toothpaste TO come after TI. It jumps to the next row. TO come after TI. Jump it again. TO come after TI, and then it just go to this line. Then it compares the whole text. Toothpaste and toothpaste, they are equals. That's why it returned 410 for you in this example. After that, we talk about the next example. That is we look up with the closest match. We look up with the closest match is useful whenever your data normally it is in terms of numbers. Because if you want to find someone's score for sure, you have to make sure that it's that person. But in terms of numbers, sometimes it is possible to have VLOOKUP as with the closest match. For example, in here, you can see that it's the range of the score with the grade for MUIC. Bear in mind that the score like this, I type 0-69. You have to be careful. This is a text. It's not comparable with the real score that you have got. So this one I show you that 0-59 or 0-59 in here is left aligned. This is a text. While you type, let's say if you type 59, 59 is right aligned because it's the number. So numbers and text cannot be comparable. That's why in this one I created 2 more columns. Column C is for lower score of that grade, and column D is upper score. Actually, in this one, the green cells are the table that we use in order to find out the grade. After that, you just use the score to test with the grade. For example, in here, Ted got 59.5. The way that we do is that we use the VLOOKUP function because we can just like compare the score with the lowest score of that range, and if it's matched, you just like return the grade of that person. But this one, you can see that you cannot clarify every single numbers. It's the range only. So 59.5 is in one out of this range anyway. So we say that, okay, if we can find out the score in the first column, you will return column 3's value for being the output. And range lookup here is true because you don't see 59.5 directly in the table. Then you have to use closest match instead. So how does this function do? 59.5 will be compared with 0. You can see that 59.5 is greater than 0. That's why it jumps to the next row. 59.5 is less than 60. That's why it jumps back to the previous row and report F score for this person. So this is the way how we look up with the closest match works. But one thing that I told you is that when I asked you that, okay, for 59.5, if a student get, or if you get like 59.5, what grade would you like to have, F or D? And everyone answered to me that, okay, everyone wants D dog if you get 59.5. And the reason why VLOOKUP didn't just like find out the D grade for this person is because 59.5 is 59.5. Straightforwardly, 59.5 is less than 60. That's why it jumps back to the previous line and show F as the answer. If you want to get the dog from 59.5, the things that we have to do is that we have to round that value first. To round it is not difficult. You just simply type the round function for the score directly to round to round the score นะครับ it's easy you just type equals to round followed by that value and followed by number of decimal points that you would like to have. In this one we want the real we want integer, so that means we don't want decimal points. You put the decimal points or number of digits to be 0 digits, then it returns 60 for you. And then when use we look up once again นะครับ 60 นะครับ 60 is in this range นะครับ the second range, so that's why when you that student gets 60 or TED gets 60 นะครับ, it shows the dog for TED. For Joy as well นะครับ you can see that without the rounding when you go to just like search for Joy's grade, she gets 89.5 นะครับ, it goes down like this until 85 นะครับ, 89.5 is greater than 85, then it jumps down to 90, but 89.5 is less than 90. That's why we look up jumps back to the previous row and report B plus for this student นะครับ, but if we round we get 90 นะครับ, 90 it jumps to 90 here, 90 equals to 90, this person get an A นะครับ in here. Okay, so this is the way how do we gonna use we look up with the closest match to help finding the nearby value นะครับ or closest value นะครับ when we don't have a specific value of that lookup value to be searched นะครับ. After that the last function that we learned on the last class was a function that we called as index function. Index function is different from VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP because index function is a function that we use the location in order to specify นะครับ the value. We don't use the lookup value to search for. For example, if you want to get the data that I crossed in this cell, this data is located in row number 3, column number 3 of this table, right? Then you have to specify row number and column number, and then you get the value. Different from the previous example that we had before. If you want to show, if you want to get or to know the grade, you have to just like look up by using that person's score. If you want to know the price or the cost of the product, you have to use product description to find the price. If you want to know the BMI, if you want to know body type, you have to use BMI score to find out นะครับ while the index function we just use the location to specify. For example นะครับ we have this table นะครับ this table consists of 5 rows นะครับ 1 column, 5 rows, 1 column. I say that I want to pick the value from the 5th row of the first column of the table, or I want to pick number 8 นะครับ, to be shown in the green cell here. What should I do? So I have to use index function นะครับ. You can see that for the index function, it's here นะครับ, it's here. Index function followed by dot 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 means that it has more than one options of the argument นะครับ. It returns a value or reference of the cell at the intersection of a row and a column นะครับ, in a given range. Now นะครับ, the way that we do is that I click OK. You can see that we have 2 possible lists of arguments. The first one นะครับ, array row num column num. This one is used when you have 1 table. Doesn't matter how many rows and how many columns you have got in that table นะครับ, you use that first argument. So in here I click OK. Then array in here means where are the locations of your table. In this example นะครับ I just highlight the location of my array นะครับ it's B84 to B88. Row number, I say that okay, in the problem I say that I want the 5th row of data from the 5th row. Column นะครับ column number 1. You can see that the intermediate result is showing number 8 for us นะครับ. So this is the index function that we use what to say, location number นะครับ row number and column number to justify that value ครับ. And after that we finish นะครับ before we finish the class, I asked students to do just like to find out the data from the third row and the second column of this table. You do the same thing. In this one, we just specify the table array first, row number and column number. So then the array is here. Now I highlight the whole table here, and I want the data from row number 3, column number 2. This is column 1. This is column 2. Then it shows 9 for me as the intermediate result. And when I click OK, it shows number 9. This is what we did on the last class. You know already how do we gonna pick the value if we know the location, apart from knowing the key that we have got, like VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP that we have got. So that was index function when you have one table. Now let's see. Index function has like 2 possible lists of arguments. The second one, reference row num, column num, area num. What is that? The index function for the second list of arguments like this can be used whenever you have more than one table that you would like to stick them together and find some values. Then you need to specify one extra argument, and one of the argument that is changed from array, you have to change to be reference. What does it mean? For array, in this example, this is array. But if you have more than one table, you have to specify every single location of the tables that you have got. And apart from that, we have the extra argument that is area num. Area num means that what table that you are referring to that the value is located. You see in the example together. Now we just go to index with multiple table. So firstly, for table number 1, I want you to copy from the previous table, from example 2. This is what we call table 1. Now, table 2. If we say that we have table 2, and we have table 3. I type table 3. Yeah, this is table 3. Now assume that you have 3 tables. And these 3 tables are related to each other. Okay, I'll talk about like the application of like multiple tables later on. Okay. Suppose I say that, okay, number 1, find the value from row 3, column 2 of table 1. So let's talk about number 1 first. Let's talk about number 1 first. Okay, let me type it for you. Okay. Firstly, if you ask to find out the value of row 3 column 2 of table 1 นะครับ if you say that these three tables they are related นะครับ they are related so what are we going to do นะครับ in this one we would like to find the value from row 3 column 2 นะครับ of table number 1 okay the things that we have to do is that we use index function because you know cell location, right? Okay, and this one we would like to refer to all of these tables. So what are we going to do? The reference is a cell location, and in this example we have 3 tables. Bear in mind that each table you separate each table by comma. You separate each table by comma. So I start table 1 first. I highlight it. I put comma. Table 2. I highlight them, put comma, and now I have table 3. So these locations does matter because if you put B100 to C104, this one is defined as table 1 or area number 1. The second one in the list is called area number 2, and the last one is area number 3. If you move the area number 3, or if you move the location of table 3 to be the second one, it will become area number 2 instead. So you have to be careful for the order of entering these references. After that, we say that we want the data from row number 3, column number 2 of table 1. We put the data like this. And then if you click OK, you can see that right now it shows the error. What's wrong with it? In this one, it means that there is something wrong about your argument. The thing that we have to do is that we have to fix the problem. In that for the argument, the first argument, that is the reference. If you have many tables, in this case we have 3 tables, right? We have to specify parentheses to cover these references. Just one parenthesis is enough. And then you start first table, comma, second table, comma, third table. You can see that the list of the tables range are in the parentheses, are in the same parentheses. You want to get row number 3, column number 2, area number 1. You can see that right now intermediate result is showing formula result 9 for us already. Formula 9, formula result that is 9 for us already. Let me just type these formula in your chat box, and then you will see how I did it. Okay, this is the index function that we have got. Okay, right. So for this example, do you have any question? Example number 1 here, where I can get number 9 in the answer as the answer. Okay, if you don't have any questions, can you do number 2 and number 3 for me? Right now, one of you start showing me the answer already. Okay, 2 of you, 3 of you, that's good. Okay, right. Okay, so right now, let's see how do we gonna just like do for the green cell. We want number 7 over there. Some of you said that can I use like the format as like one table, like this one that we did before. We may do it, but in this case, they ask you to find out the list of the second range, the index with the range format. Then you have to just like formulate it. In this one, you can see that we do the same thing as like the previous thing that we did on number 1. In this one, we choose the second range, the second list of arguments นะครับ and then we put parenthesis first. Highlight the first table, comma. You highlight the second table, comma. Highlight the third table. นะครับ now we get the reference นะครับ that are 3 tables already. Now you want to get the data from row number 2, column number 2 of area number 2. Have this one, you get number 7 as the intermediate result, right? Okay, right. Then we get this one already. Right now, we just like go to find out the last requirement that we did the similar way around. But in this one, we want the data from table 3 instead. We go to index function. Second list of arguments นะครับ put the parenthesis first. The first table นะครับ area comma second table, sorry, the wrong one. Okay, second table is here, comma, and the third table over there. Now I get 3 tables already นะครับ I want row number 2, column number 3 of table number 3. You can see that right now I get 5 นะครับ as my third value that I want to have in here. So I get number 5, right? Okay นะครับ so this is the way that we use for index function. It's easy, right? This one. But for the index with range format, it's a bit confusing, but not much. Now let me tell you in the reality how you're going to use the index function with multiple tables like this. Assume that you have the tables. One table is a sales, another table is currency exchange rate, the other table is commission rate. These 3 kind of important information might be separated in 3 different tables. You can see that this one, we may have to use the index with multiple table or with range format in order to find the sales multiplied by conversion rate, and check against the commission rate in the third table or something like that. Then you can use the index function to help. Okay, right. Okay นะครับ this is index function. So up to this point, do you have any question for the index function ครับ anyone? If you don't have any questions นะครับ let me move on to the match function นะครับ match function is the function that we normally นะครับ we may use with in conjunction with the index function, or sometimes we use it separately. Match function is the way in order to reverse the way of searching some data. You can see that for index function, we use index function to find the data, or to find a value when you know the location, right? While match function is the function to find the location when you know the value. Let me say again. Index is used to find the value when you know location. Match is a function to find the location when you know the value. It's opposite way around. But normally for the match function, we use it in order to search for the information when you have one when you have one column or one row. Okay, let me just give you an example. For the match function, it looks like this. Assume that you have the value like this in a table. So when we use match function, we use when we know the value inside. For example, I know that there is somewhere in this table where there is a value A located. Then I want to know the row number of this table, because we will use it for other purposes later on that I'll show you next. In here, you can see that for VLOOKUP, if we use VLOOKUP, it doesn't tell you what row number that AA is located. It just tells you the value of another column if you have got. If you use index function, you have to specify row number, but in here we want to know row number. That's why we have to use match function to help. Now let's see the format, the syntax of match function first. So everyone just click on insert function button and then type match in the search box and then click go. Match function is a function that we use to return a relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. Bear in mind match function normally we use with like one column table or one row table only. One column table means that you can have many rows in one column, like the one that you see in the example number 1. Or one row table means that you can have the data in many cells, but everything is located in the same row, something like that. If you have a table with multiple rows and columns, normally the match function doesn't work. It will return the error instead. So now we have 3 arguments that match function need. First, lookup value. What value you would like to search in this table? Second one, what is the array? What is lookup array? That is the area or the range of this array or this table. And the third one, match type. Match type is just like exact match, something like that. We have value positive 1, 0, and negative 1. I recommend you to use 0, that is exact match only, while the 1 is for the exact match or value that is greater than that, or negative 1 is exact match or the value that is less than that. In this class, we just specify the exact match only, then we put number 0, or you may omit that argument. That is okay for the match type. It means exact match anyway. In this one, let's see. I'll show you how you're gonna find the location of AAA and what will this match function returns. Okay, look up value. In here, assume that I type AAA. Bear in mind, if it is the text, when you want to put the text in the list of the arguments, AAA is text, then you have to put double quote to surround AAA. But if the value that you type in is number, is currency, is percentage, do not enter double quotes, because entering double quotes will cause that value to become the text immediately. Okay. Now let's see. For the lookup array, you just drag this table. My one is B117 to B121. Match type is 0. This is exact match. So when we have this already, you can see that intermediate result is showing 3. 3, what does 3 means? 3 means in here, row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 means here row number 3 in this array. You can find AAA in row number 3 of the array. Now let me just like check something a bit. If I have AAA, this one, I don't have it in this table. What will happen? It shows error. You see that? Not available because we don't have 5 A's. We don't have 5 A's. We have just 4 A's only. So let me just like copy this formula to you. So that means the match function can be used in order to find the location in the table that you have got. So now everyone just do for me. I want you to find out the column, the row that value is located. So I give you 2 minutes นะครับ find a row that value is located. Can you do it for me ครับ When you get the answer, just type the answer in the chat box นะครับ This example is super easy for you guys. Okay. Okay. So right now นะครับ many of you show me the answer already. Yeah, that is correct นะครับ Right. Okay ครับ So the way to do is super easy นะครับ We just choose index. Sorry, you just choose match function because we want to know the location นะครับ And then you enter value e นะครับ Lookup array is this table นะครับ B17 to B121. Match type is 0. And then you click OK. You get number 5 นะครับ In here นะครับ Let me just add something a bit นะครับ You can see that when we type in here, we call it as hard code. Because if you say that you want other values, you have to go to change in your formula นะครับ In this one, if I say that, okay, I type in here, and then I say that, okay, instead of matching the I would like to match the value in the cell F19 for us. In this one, you can see that I can change the value to be any value that I want นะครับ and then it's just like no need to just change the formula นะครับ something like that. So I may use this one instead นะครับ so it's up to you นะครับ if you don't want to hard code, you may just like use a referencing like this instead. Okay, so นะครับ that's all for the match function. You may say that, hey, why do we have to learn for match and index when we have VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP นะครับ You have to know that in the reality sometimes นะครับ VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP might not work in some situation. We can use index and match function to help นะครับ finding the solution as well นะครับ instead of using VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. Let me just show you นะครับ the example how do you gonna use index with the match function นะครับ Okay. Okay, so we have a table of 2 columns นะครับ like this. Let me just like give you the data นะครับ We are a bakery store and we would like to this table reports the production of our cookies in 1,000 pieces นะครับ Okay. Now let's warm up with this one นะครับ I would like you นะครับ I would like you to find out the production of cookies in April นะครับ by using VLOOKUP please. I would like you to use VLOOKUP to find out นะครับ the production of cookies in April. April, I just use this one in another cell นะครับ so that you can use a reference นะครับ to find the value of production of cookies in April. Just do this one for me ครับ Find the production of cookies using VLOOKUP for me นะครับ This one I give you 3 minutes นะครับ 3 minutes to find out นะครับ the formula for finding the production of cookies in April ครับ When you get the answer already นะครับ please type in the chat box นะครับ I want you to find the row number where April located using match นะครับ so in this one just use this green cells only นะครับ to find April นะครับ to find April if you get the answer already นะครับ please show me the formula ครับ bear in mind นะครับ match function work with one column table นะครับ only or one row table only if you highlight the whole table นะครับ column B column C match function doesn't work so for the second question นะครับ it's due at 3 o'clock นะครับ 3 o'clock 3 p.m. please find out this row number for me for sure the answer is 4 ครับ but how do you get 4 for this one so now let me show the first one นะครับ for VLOOKUP we go to VLOOKUP function lookup value is April in cell C133 table array is the whole table here นะครับ including month and number of cookies production column index num I want column number 2 and range lookup is false นะครับ okay then it shows 67 นะครับ it shows 67,000 pieces นะครับ now I'm still waiting for your match function นะครับ one more minute นะครับ okay so time's up นะครับ anyone who still just like think about it นะครับ when you get the answer just type to show me นะครับ in the chat box นะครับ okay for this one you are asked to find row number of April using match นะครับ as we studied before in order to find the data for match นะครับ the lookup value you want to find April นะครับ in C133 lookup array is in column B นะครับ match type is 0 you can see that in here it shows row number 4 for me it shows row number 4 for me sorry shows row number 4 for me นะครับ so this is easy right okay now นะครับ the next step that I want to show you is that if we would like to find นะครับ if we would like to find นะครับ the cookies produced นะครับ using index function you can see that for index function you have to know the location right so that means you want to find นะครับ the data from second column นะครับ because second column is cookies right row number 4 because row number 4 is April นะครับ okay in here so what are we going to do the index function here I combine the knowledge นะครับ for the value that we got for from match function already นะครับ I do like this ครับ for index function นะครับ this is just one table only I use the first list of argument array is this table นะครับ row number is row 4, right? I just refer to the row number in match function that we find before in C, the 135. Column number 2, because cookies production is in second column of this table, you can see that this one, we get 67 as well without using VLOOKUP นะครับ without using VLOOKUP. So somebody combine index and match together นะครับ combine index and match together to look like this. Okay, I copy match function first into my notepad, and then I copy index function to my notepad as well. And instead of entering C135 นะครับ that is the output from match function นะครับ my C135 is the output from match function. I substitute it with match function in there. So you can see that right now we have index and match function in the same cell to find the value instead of using นะครับ instead of using VLOOKUP. Then we get 67,000 items that we use in order to find out the production นะครับ by using index and match function. This one ครับ sometimes we use index and match instead of HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP นะครับ okay. For example, some of the very old Excel versions, when they didn't have VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index functions were available there, and then they use VLOOKUP. They use index and match to help instead. And in the future, when you study for some features in Excel that we create a form in Excel, at the time we use index function. Then at the time we will not use VLOOKUP functions to help นะครับ so that's why in this one you can see that we use index and match function in order to find out number of cookies produced in April. And then if you change the month นะครับ if you change the month to be, let's say, March นะครับ both VLOOKUP and index and match still give the same answer anyway นะครับ because this is the way that we just like use the similar concepts in order to just like get the production. Okay. Right, okay then นะครับ up to this point, do you have any question with the index and match function and its application? So if you don't have any questions นะครับ everyone, I would like you to go to e-learning ครับ I have the some more exercises for you นะครับ the assignment for you to do, and also I have the data for the next topic that I'm going to teach as well นะครับ okay, right, okay. So when you're ready นะครับ just open up your e-learning. I'll just like open it up for you นะครับ let me share my screen. Okay, so for this one นะครับ when you scroll to this part นะครับ you see more exercises that I give it to you นะครับ okay. Now let's talk about the submitted exercises นะครับ or assignment that you submitted already นะครับ exercise 1 to 4 and 5 I give you the solution already นะครับ you can just like check for the things that you did นะครับ and use my answer as a guideline whether the things you did is correct or not นะครับ. So now I have like exercises more for you 6 to 11 นะครับ from 6 to 11 นะครับ. And also exercise number 3. Last time we couldn't do that because we haven't studied for HLOOKUP yet นะครับ. Right now you can do it. so please do exercise 3 6 to 11นะครับ to me นะครับ for our section just submit it here ครับ it's on we are on section 5นะครับ submit it to me before this Sunday night before midnight นะครับ for this one right okay นะครับ now let's see for the data that I want you to download please download the file called SUMIF filter pivot table data file นะครับ so download into your computer please and then open it up ครับ so when you open it up already you can see that there are 7 columns data นะครับ in here click enable editing first นะครับ in here we are going to copy this worksheet นะครับ into my first book นะครับ that we have been using it นะครับ firstly rename this worksheet first so that you not be confused when you copy into another worksheet another workbook I'm sorry name it as นะครับ name it as SUMIF filter pivot data นะครับ SUMIF filter pivot data okay. so when you rename it already now I'll show you how to copy นะครับ the worksheet from one file to another file firstly make sure that my first book is openingนะครับ and the SUMIF filter data is opening as well นะครับ both of them must be opened after that you go to the tab นะครับ name of SUMIF filter pivot data นะครับ right click and then you choose move or copy then you choose to bookนะครับ and then you go to choose your my first book file my one is here then you click OKนะครับ then you click OK then you get this one already นะครับ okay so for anyone who is not ready yet นะครับ I just give you couple of minutes to do นะครับ so just do it now ครับ I'm waiting นะครับ I'm waiting all right ครับ everyone so are you ready for this file ครับ okay when you copy this file into this worksheet into the my first book file already นะครับ this one I just want to show you the first thing นะครับ that you have to know whenever you have like the system นะครับ the computer system นะครับ or the information system in most of the company around the world when there is a sales transactions most นะครับ of the system around the world will generate the data like this for you ครับ including the accounting as well the data has been generated as a transaction like this ครับ if you scroll down you can see that there are many rows นะครับ of this data but this one I just like show you with like 20 something rows only นะครับ but we have 7 columns sometimes if you would like to know some information นะครับ for example if you want to know that okay what are I mean how many sellers นะครับ or sales representative do we have นะครับ you can see that it's in column C right sometimes in order to know who are or sorry how who are the sellers and how many of them do we have somebody choose the way to sort the data first and what's the problem somebody said that okay I'll sort the data there is no problem but bear in mind นะครับ if you sort the data the structure of this transaction is gone already is destroyed already for example in this one นะครับ I don't know how do they sort the data นะครับ but if I say that I want to find my sellers นะครับ I may highlight นะครับ the whole rows นะครับ of data like this and I go to sort if you remember to sort the data we have ascending sort and descending sort ครับ we highlight the rows นะครับ or the table that you want to sort first go to data tab, go to sort, and then uncheck my data has headers, and then just choose นะครับ I say that I sort by seller. Seller is in column C นะครับ in here. I click OK. Now I see Andrew, Cindy, and when I scroll down, James and Susan, 4 people, นะครับ 4 sales representative. This is the way that somebody does. What happened next? If I say that, okay, the actually the data was sorted by something before that I don't know. If I save this file and close this file already, I cannot undo anything. So I can tell you that in some cases, if you really have to sort the data, if you really have to sort the data and you don't know whether it destroys the structure of the data or not, I number my data first. If you remember, Excel has the features in order to do the automatic numbering. I number the data like this first, and then I sort whatever I want. For example, I said that I want to sort by seller in column C, and after that, each seller I would like to sort by payment method in column I. I add another level. I add column I, and then I sort. You can see that, okay, this one, if I just like finish with just like looking at my data already, I just sort again, but right now I sort by column A. I delete the column that I don't want. I sort by column A. So everything will go back to its original state. This is the trick that I use. But I mean, like in the reality, sometimes we don't need to do the things like this. The way that we do is that sometimes we just like want to watch or to see some data temporarily only. For example, I want to know how many sellers do we have. I want to know how many groups of goods or how many type of goods did we sell. Then the easiest way to do is that we use the concept that is what we call filtering the data. In order to filter the data, you will see the information, all possible choices or all possible values of that column according to what you need. In order to do the filtering, the first thing that you have to know is that, okay, you have to think first what column you would like to filter. In this case, suppose I said that I may want to filter like many columns. I don't know now. Now I'll choose like every column that I have got first. So the way to do everyone, you highlight the column that you would like to filter. For example, in here, I want to filter from A to H. I'll choose later on which column that I would like to filter. I highlight column A to H. After that, you go to data tab, data menu, and then click filter. You see in the funnel shape, click on filter. When you click filter already, right now you can see that in the filter menu, it turns gray color in here, dark gray color. Apart from that one, each column in the first row, you will see the square button with the arrow down. This one means that this column is ready to be filtered. Okay. Next, what are we going to do? If I say that I would like to see how many sellers do we have and who are they, you click the button, the square button on seller column in column C here. You can see that in here we have 4 sellers in this list: Andrew, Cindy, James, and Susan. And then you can use this filter to do some other thing else. Suppose I say that I want to see just Susan's record only. You choose seller. You click on select all out first, and then choose Susan, and then okay. You can see that right now we see just Susan records in column C. Everyone, I mean like every transaction belongs to Susan, who is the seller. After that, when you filter, you can filter more than one column at a time. For example, I say that I want to see the food นะครับ transaction that Susan sold. So I go to goods column and then I choose just food and then click OK. So it lists out just like the goods that is food นะครับ in what Susan sold for us. In this case, what do we notice from this filter? If you have a look นะครับ right now, the filter that we have got here นะครับ the square button here, you see that seller and goods, they have funnel inside the square button together with the down arrow. If the funnel is inside the square button, it means that right now you are using this column for filtering. So right now you can see that seller is filtering, goods is filtering นะครับ. So that's why I mean, like, for the total number of records in this worksheets, you have more than that. But now because the filter is active นะครับ, that's why you just see this records only. And if you notice, you can see that in here you see two horizontal lines in here. That means from row 1 to row 10 we have some rows that are hidden right now because of the filter. Okay, so when you have the filter like this already, if you say that I want to see every transaction that Susan sold, not just food anymore, you go back to goods column นะครับ and then you just choose clear filter from goods. Then it just like come back to show every transactions that Susan sold นะครับ let me do again ครับ firstly we just choose food, right? But right now we say that we want to see every transaction. We don't want to filter goods anymore for Susan. We go to a button นะครับ a filter buttons, and then you just click clear filter from goods. Then all the transactions that are hidden นะครับ of goods sold by Susan will be displayed. And finally, if you say that you don't want to filter just Susan anymore นะครับ you may just like click on this button and choose clear filter from seller, or if you just want to cancel the filtering นะครับ all of the filtering at the same time, instead of just clicking and choose clear filter from that column นะครับ once at a time, you can just like go to data tab. On the right hand side of the filter menu, you see clear, right? Once you click clear นะครับ, every filter will be removed, and then you see all the data. Structure of the data is the same as the original one. You don't touch anything นะครับ so don't worry about it if you use the filtering. Apart from that one นะครับ if you say that okay, you have the filtering นะครับ for let's say Susan นะครับ for transaction that she sold food. If you say that you want to what to say, disable this filter นะครับ, that means you don't want filter anymore for anything. You can go to data tab and then you just click on filter. Then it just like clear out all the filter นะครับ and remove the square button of each column that you set before นะครับ this one นะครับ in the future when you go to work or go for internship, when someone just sent you นะครับ the Excel file, and then you have just like some lines of data like this only นะครับ don't think that oh they have just the data for one row นะครับ see, just notice the filter button, whether the filter is active or not. If it's active, means that they are filtering by using some criteria. You may move the mouse pointer over the button นะครับ the square button and see what filter that they are using. In here you can see that they are filtering นะครับ the seller who is Cindy and goods that is food นะครับ something like that. So this is filtering. Apart from that one นะครับ let's see the usefulness of the filtering ครับ let me just show you a bit นะครับ suppose I say that okay, I clear filter from goods first. you can see that these are just like the transactions that Cindy sell for our company. In this one, if you want to have a quick look, for example, I want to know that how much did Cindy sell for us? You can see that we have column amount paid. That should be the amount of money, right? Highlight them. And it shows you for the sum. It shows you for the sum of the money that Cindy sold for us. It is $6,861 in here. This is just like the quick look when you would like to see some data. After you filter already, you can highlight to see number of records that happen. Now you see that count is 9. It means that Cindy conduct 9 transactions worth $6,861. This is a way where that we do for the filtering. Okay, right. Okay, then any question for filter? It's easy, right? For the filter. Okay. So when you have the filter already, the next function that we have to learn is what we call sum if and count if. Okay. Now let me just like clear the filter first. We have to clear the filter first. Okay. Now all the data is clear out. Okay. But I still like what to say, open or activate the filter like this because I may have to use it later on. I will not just like disable it. Okay. Now what I want you to know, the next one that we are going to learn is about just one below these functions sum if s, count if s, and sum products. These 5 functions all together. These 5 functions are easy, not difficult at all. The basic for these functions come from sum and count. For sum function is the function that add the values together. For count function is the function to count number of sales. Just that. Sum product is another one. I'll talk about it later. So now let's talk about sum if and sum if s first. For sum if is different from sum in that if we know if you learn about the sum function sum everything in the range that you enter. For example, suppose you just like use sum function. We just use the sum function. If we would like to find the total amount that the company sold in here, you can see that we have to see that, okay, it is amount paid column. If you sum them up, you will get the total amount that the company sold. So in this one, we can use the sum function. We can use the sum function. Okay. And then for the range of the sales that we have got, we just sum these numbers. We just sum these numbers. So in here, we get 19,852 as a total amount of money from the sales that we got. Okay. Right. But sometimes we say that, okay, we just want to know what is that? We just want to know the amount of money that we sold book What should we do? If you don't have any ideas, we said, oh, okay, we may sort the data first, and then we just sum only the amount paid that the goods is booked, something like that. Or somebody said that, okay, we just learn for a filter. We just filter only the book, and we just highlight amount paid. Then sum is 1,330, something like that. Or somebody said that, okay, I'll sum G2 and G14, and then I should get 1,330 as well. That is just like if you don't know about sum if. But sum if that we are going to study here is the function that we sum some data. That we sum some data when you have some conditions that you want to have. For example, you want to sum the amount paid when the goods is booked. This one we can use sum if. Okay, so now let me just like show you first how do we going to use sum if to help. Okay, let me give you an example, and then we'll talk about the syntax of sum if. Sorry, sum if. In this example, we would like to find the quantity of the product, of this product that we sold, in this company. Here I have product name, quantity sold. Okay. So in this one, we can see that we will use sum to help, in order to, because I mean, like if you have a look, we have many transactions for book. Choose book first. We have many transactions for food. Then you have to sum it first before you show the answer in here. So the things that we have to use, in this one we use sum if function. So let's see, the syntax of sum if. Sum if, start from range criteria, and sum range. Range criteria and sum range. It adds a cell by specified by a given condition or criteria. Let's see what are range, what are criteria, and what are sum range. What are these arguments? Range means that the value that is I mean the sales that's specified by given conditions or criteria in here. For example, if you want to find just the number of books that you sold, the range means the range where goods are located. It's in column D. This is range of sale you want to evaluate. And criteria is the condition or criteria in the form of numbers, expression, or text that define with the cell will be added. Criteria here is book, BOOK book, to match with the range in column D. And sum range means what are the sales that you actually would like to sum. For example, you want to sum quantity, so sum range is in column F in here. Okay. So these are like 3 different arguments that you have to put. So now let's see the quantity for the book that we sold. In this one, I will use sum if. The range in this one, I use goods range in column D first. Criteria is book นะครับ that I type in B43 some range is quantity ครับ I want to really find the quantity you can see that in this one it shows 7 for us นะครับ it shows 7 for us let's check whether it's correct or not I'll just check for the book I just filter only book quantity is 2 and 5 that is 7 and we get 7 in here yeah this one is correct so I want you นะครับ to do it by yourself นะครับ don't copy my formula นะครับ don't just copy to the lower cells I want you to just like find out the food นะครับ the quantity of food sold toy sold and movie DVD sold นะครับ do it by yourself manually ครับ just like I mean like type or create the formula by yourself นะครับ don't copy from my formula to the cell below นะครับ just do it now ครับ I give you 2 minutes นะครับ because if you can find food you can find toys and movie DVD as well นะครับ find out the quantity sold for food toy and movie DVD ครับ when you get the answer already นะครับ tell me what are the quantity ครับ what are those quantity in the chat box นะครับ now I don't want to know the formula I want to know the result just tell me how many foods toys and movie DVD you sold นะครับ 2 minutes please okay you get the answer already นะครับ now let's do it นะครับ how do you get food toys and movie DVD by using sum if so I use sum if นะครับ range is the product ครับ it's in column D criteria นะครับ this one I use food นะครับ in the cell B44 of mine some range is in quantity then I get 31 นะครับ and when I copy the formula I get toys and movie DVD นะครับ in here it's 31 23 and 16 movie DVD you get 18 right so now let me see oh there's something wrong in my one you can see that because I didn't lock the cell you see that that's why I get just 16 that is wrong นะครับ then I have to lock the cell first in this one I have to lock both range and some range นะครับ otherwise it will go wrong okay. now I get the correct answer already นะครับ 31 23 and 18 นะครับ this is the formula that we have got in here นะครับ okay right so นะครับ before we end the class today I have another example นะครับ please do it for me I want you to find นะครับ the amount นะครับ of money that Susan sold for our company นะครับ the amount of money that Susan sold to our company นะครับ so please use the function that we learned นะครับ the sum if to find out the amount of money that customer paid นะครับ for the Susan transaction for our company นะครับ type the formula and then your answer in the chat box ครับ tell me how much did Susan sell for our company ครับ 2 minutes นะครับ everyone and then we will finish the class today when you get the answer already please type in the chat box นะครับ for the formula and the value นะครับ or sorry and the amount sold formula as well นะครับ one more minute นะครับ everyone okay time's up นะครับ when you have the answer นะครับ type your answer to me in the chat box นะครับ while I'm explaining นะครับ so that I can see whether you do it correctly or not นะครับ this example the important thing is that นะครับ it's not just the formula that you do but you must be able to interpret what the example wants in this one the example would like to know how much did Susan sell that is about amount of money นะครับ that is amount of money so amount of money is located in column G นะครับ amount paid นะครับ it is not quantity anymore นะครับ it is not quantity anymore so that means when you calculate you have to be careful นะครับ in this one you have to sum column G นะครับ that is sum range it is not column F that is quantity anymore so in this one นะครับ when you find the amount sold for Susan นะครับ by Susan you go to sum if and then range นะครับ is the name of the seller นะครับ in here column C criteria is Susan and sum range นะครับ is amount paid you can see that in here it shows $1,698 นะครับ so be careful นะครับ whenever you have to do some functions most of the functions are not difficult for us but the difficult part is that can you interpret what the problem would like you to solve or not นะครับ so in this one นะครับ this is my my functions นะครับ that I formulated I sent it to you in the chat box already นะครับ okay right so this is the way in order to use sum if to find out the data that we want นะครับ okay right okay up to this point นะครับ everyone do you have any questions ครับ